Hello and welcome back. I've caught up with your Dropbox assignments and the discussions, not all of them on this last board, but a little over half of them. You all did a great job of looking at both of the differences between the movie and the book and picking out particular scenes in the movie, and your analysis was spot on. We've done a lot of hard work understanding the history of Derby as well as bringing in some tough theory, but that all of that hard work I think will help us out in this next assignment, which I hope will be fairly fun. Before I get into that, I just wanted to go over a few points from some things that stuck out to me in the posts. Some of you said that a few of you said that maybe the differences between the book and the script might have to do more with Shauna Cross not having as much control over it, because Hollywood, as one person particularly pointed out, lets other script editors change things, and they have to get approval from Shauna on the project, right? But they change a lot of things to fit a particular formula for the movie. So there might be, I didn't think about that aspect. That might account for some of the changes. Another thing that a student brought up a couple times that I thought was interesting is the idea of perhaps a fourth wave of feminism. Now, I have to admit, I have read a good deal of feminist criticism, but I wouldn't consider myself an expert in feminist criticism. My expertise is in other fields, but I think that it's an interesting question to follow, particularly with Derby, is maybe the possibility of fourth wave feminism. And one place I'd point you to if you're interested in looking at this, Donna Haraway has a article called the Cyborg Manifesto, and there is an interesting, that might be considered third wave feminism, but that might be a good place to start if you're trying to postulate a fourth wave. And of course, we have a great women's and gender studies department here at OU, and as well as in the literary department, there are professors who are more knowledgeable about feminist scholarship and theory. But those definitely stuck out to me. One other thing, and this will help us lead into the assignment, is one of you pointed out a couple discussions back that you noticed that Derby seems to be more than just a sport, that it's a culture. And I think that's a very important point, and that'll help lead us into looking at how Derby culture manifests itself, particularly in Oklahoma. So what we're going to do, I know quite a few roller girls from flat track derby, particularly Oklahoma City roller derby. I know a few from the Victory Dolls as well, which is in Norman, but Oklahoma City roller derby, or Tornado Alley roller derby, or Tornado Alley roller girls, which is the A team under them. I know quite a few girls from that team, and actually I'm going to stand up and show you here. I'm wearing a Tornado Alley roller girl shirt. So I bring this up because the person that, because of this next assignment, I want us to develop some interview questions for one particular roller girl so we can ask her some good questions, get some good answers, and be able to analyze it. The roller girl in question, her name is Rose Brandt. Her skate name is Switchblade Rosie, and she owns a skate shop here in Oklahoma City. If you look at the links tab, I've provided a link to Switchblade Skate Company, which I've put it directly to the About page, and you'll see a picture of her skating, and you'll notice she's the one in the front, and she has like what looks like a scar across her face. It's makeup, it's not a real scar, but there's also a very short kind of bio about how she started, was an accountant, and then started doing roller derby full time and opened the skate shop. I want you to also look at one other thing for to help you develop these questions. I've added one more reading, but it's a very short reading. It is from Oklahoma Living, September of 2011. And on the content tab, the article title is called Derby Days, and it is just a 2-page news article about the resurgence of roller derby, but very specifically about how roller derby, what roller derby goes on in Oklahoma. You'll notice that there are some quotes from Switchblade Rosie in this short piece as well. So I think it will help us in developing the questions. So on to the questions. So for this next assignment, the only reading you have, look at that link. You'll see a picture of Switchblade. Also look at the short article, and we'll get a sense for maybe some of the questions that would be appropriate to ask her in an interview. And I've already talked to her, and she's more than happy to do an interview for us. So a couple of words on what I think would be good interview questions. So a lot of you probably still have some lingering questions about the specifics of roller derby or what games are like. Remember in Hell on Wheels, the whole group that split off from the CEOs, they were basically the start of women's flat track derby. I also have links to that on the links page, on the links tab. So that's the split off that flat track derby and Oklahoma City roller derby and Tornado Alley is following. So keep that in mind. You might so any questions you have about derby or especially personal experience, we should probably gear these questions to really focus on asking Rose about the personal experience with derby. Those are questions she'd be more apt to be able to answer, and will give us a lot of stuff to analyze. You might also look, I know some of you have already, look at that interview at the back of the book Whip It to kind of get an idea of some good questions to ask Rosie. What we're going to do is I'm going to have you upload, if you notice there's a Dropbox, I'll have you, after you read the short Derby Days, and then take a look at that link if you need to. Also look at the interview at the end of Whip It. Develop 5 questions that you think would be the best questions to ask in an interview, and upload them into the Dropbox. And I want you to give these questions a good amount of thought, because the way that you word the question will really help to get a good response, a good response that we would be able to make a lot of sense of when later in the course. I think one of the last assignments we're going to do is to analyze some of these answers that Rosie gives. So I think this will be a fun assignment, and I think all of the hard work you've all done to get here will really help inform the building of those questions. Upload those into the Dropbox by 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time on Friday, and what I will do is I will go through and I will pick the questions. We unfortunately won't be able to ask all of the questions you have, right? Because that would be a very long interview. But I will pick the questions that I think we'll be able to get the best answers out of. And then I'm going to go do an interview with her in her store. I might bring a video camera. I might just be able to do audio. I'm not sure about the technology at this point. But what we're going to try to do is get the perspective of one particular roller girl who is very close to us and who has been doing it for a number of years here. And you can see that from both the link I posted and that Derby Days news article. So this is a long video post. I apologize for the length, but I'm excited about this assignment, and I hope everyone else is too. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free to email me, and I'll see you guys next time.